Phones.
Where's my phone?
My hand.
Oh.
Hi, everybody. This is Lady Outlaws, Lunatic Mom,
Me,
Good
Lady Rock.
morning.
Wild One.
Is it live?
Yep,
Yeah,
we're
we're
live, huh?
live.
Okay, now October is Breast Cancer Awareness, so that's what we're gonna be talking about today. And
Yeah.
everybody should do like self care, like to find out like there
Yes,
are certain ways that you can, I don't know, touch yourself.
like that.
No, they do. They do say that, like, you can feel like the way that when you bump yourself and you have a bruise because you hurt yourself,
Yeah,
that's the same thing that you might not think that it's anything there,
Right.
but soon as you notice that there is any kind of a lump that it wasn't there before, that should
yeah.
be
A
asked
one time.
questions and yeah, and looked into it, because
Yeah,
sometimes you never know how long it's been developing, slowly, and it's already there. But when it comes down to the lump that you already feel it, that it's already far.
Right.
yeah. It's like go to have a mammogram. I know they're painful. They hurt. I've had my first one when I was age 40.
Oh, that hurts. That I hate to do.
You ain't the
Right.
only one.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
the guys don't even know what they think. Oh, you guys have a decent bullshit.
No, they don't. They don't have no idea. For me as a trans woman to experience what y'all women go through, as in the blood cramps, the breast growth, all that
Yeah.
silly shit that happens in a mammogram done,
Uh-huh.
the first time will freak you the fuck out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and they are not very gentle. They just like, oh, let me pull on it. Really?
Yeah, or put your head behind your head.
Yeah. And then it's put the machine on and squishes it like, oh my
Yeah,
God, oh my God.
yeah, that shit
And then
starts at heart.
breathe. Yeah, breathe. How about I squish your ass? So it's just one of those things that, we just have to
Yeah,
go a little bit more through than the man. And
yeah,
on
Right.
the other hand, it's like, yes, sometimes, like in these days, I guess women fought for the rights that they can do men's job as men can
yeah,
do. But certain things, really, it is really hard that women are not built to have that kind of muscle as a man does
exactly.
to do that kind of job. But
Right.
again, when the man says, I can do everything what the women can do, okay, go give a birth.
Hi, Braxis.
Like when I after I had Austin, right, I had to have the pap smear thing, to make
Oh,
sure
yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, how they stick that thing in there and they expand it, right? And I'm making these weird fucking faces, and Chris is just laughing at me. I was like, "Listen here, Bucko, let me stick something up your pee pee and expand it." Then you tell me,
And then they take that little thing and they scrape it around to test it if there is anything there.
right?
So it's just like, it's not pleasant. It's
No,
really
it's
No,
not.
not. No, it's not. Nothing that we have to like take care of is like pleasant
Right.
at all.
Like there is a lot more to take care of and everything else. Like
yeah,
even, for example, like I didn't know that I had a thyroid cancer. I had symptoms for years that I didn't know that was something that was happening, because I couldn't sleep at night. It would like choke me, like I couldn't breathe. So I had to basically like sit up to sleep, because that's when I was comfortable. And I was always like, the whole summer I would lose my voice, I would cough and everything. And I was like, went to the doctor and I'm like, I have no idea what the hell's happening, but somebody has to help me. I'm always coughing and I always have a cold, because I thought I had a cold, and it's summertime. And he's like, okay, well, why don't we run some tests, blood work, and like some ultrasound and everything else, and this and that. So
Yeah.
he ran the test, and then he's like, well, then you have to go have your biopsy done. What?
hi,
And
Dad, uncensored.
oh,
Right.
yeah, he's up there.
Yep.
Now, like, just no, when you guys notice there's something wrong, something wrong with your body, you need to pay attention to it because
Yeah,
it could be very, very important. I mean, it
very
could be
serious.
like,
Yeah, it could be serious, definitely.
see, when I was 14, when I had my brain cancer, mom, okay, my doctor
Yeah,
was so stupid. My dad had just passed away, so we had to move from the country to the city. I had to make a bunch of new friends, right? And
right.
when I went in and was suffering for this for over 6 months, he kept telling me, "Well, you're lying, faking, putting it on. He never ordered any tests or anything. If
Right.
I would have had those tests, stuff wouldn't have been as bad as it turned out to be because it had 6 months to go. And when I went to the hospital or to the doctor to find out about what I had, he says, "You have a brain tumor, and if they wouldn't have found it within 10 days, you would have been dead."
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I've
So
experienced hormone toxicity levels. And see, for me, I'd have to have lab work every 6 months to make
right,
sure my hormone level is close
Right.
to the level like y'all women's level would be. It
Yeah.
shot up to a point where I could have had a blood clot
Yeah,
that could have run
definitely.
right up into my heart and killed me.
Yeah, definitely.
so
Well,
lumps, bruising, I mean, what are like if you have headaches constantly?
oh
That was
yes.
that was the main thing that I had, and then my arm would always go numb, you know, and I don't know how it was for you with your brain cancer, but
Yeah, I didn't know that I even had it
right,
again because I was like my side, my whole right side, my arm, my legs, and like I would get dizzy and everything else. It would like go, and sometimes my legs I couldn't feel them. So actually, I found out really really strange about it. How? Because I when I used to work and I came home from work, it was a Saturday, and I was trying to clean up
Yeah,
the house and I was washing the floor and everything else, and all of a sudden I kind of like really get dizzy and I sat down and I'm like, let me just sit for a minute so I can finish this floor.
yeah.
come on,
And when I sat down and then I went to get up, I collapsed.
Ooh,
I completely collapsed. I was conscious but I collapsed, and they explained to me that I was having a seizure,
oh
but
shit.
yeah, but I didn't know that. But I was able to see everyone. I just couldn't move my body. I couldn't get
Yeah,
up. I couldn't do nothing. So they took me to the hospital, and then they like, okay, how many times did it happen? Did it happen this? Didn't it happen that? Shithead, right here, it happened. Here I am. Do whatever you need to do.
right,
So then they did the MRIs and everything else, and they draw blood work and everything else. And after the MRI, the doctor comes in and he's like, "Oh well, so how long you had this brain tumor on?" I'm like, "A what?" Didn't even ask nothing. Have I been ever to the doctor or anything? Just how long did you have this brain tumor? I'm like, "What do I have?" Well, you don't know. No, I don't. What do I have? What are you talking about? Well, you have a brain tumor. That's why you having seizures. That he gave me the name for it, but it's like years that I forgot. And I'm like, so what do we do? And he's like, well, there is observation. We have to run tests all the time. You have to have MRIs done. We have to observe it if it's
yeah,
growing, if not, and this and that. So that's how I was going. And when I found out, Kaya was only 3 years old.
mm,
yeah.
And the rest of the kids were still all under 18. And I'm like, oh shit, what am I gonna do? So if I die, what's my husband gonna do with all these kids?
right,
So it's like a double, like, stress and everything else. Worry about the kids, worry about everything to be situated, and worry about yourself, how long you have, and if it's
Exactly,
treatable.
exactly.
I have been going on without this like for 5 years almost.
Yeah,
Yeah. So then they were like, okay, so now what do we do? I'm like, well, whatever we have to do. So they were giving me medicine for not to prevent seizures, so I wouldn't have it. So that medicine was kind of interfering with everything else with me and everything. You know how it's always working. So
Mhm.
then finally, they were sending me to one of the facilities to do the MRIs, and apparently that facility had old equipment, so it wasn't detecting everything what they were scanning. Like all the stuff was exactly the same thing. So then finally my doctor's like, that's been very strange that you have the same measurement and same levels and same everything for past 2 years. Is it something going on, or is it really, how do you feel? I said, well, I still feel dizzy, I still have extreme headaches, I still get numb, my arm, my leg, and everything else. And on my right eye, I was like losing my vision because I still have a lower vision on my right eye than the left one. And she's like, we have to do this again, I'm sending you straight to the hospital. So she sent me to the actual hospital to do the MRIs. When
Yeah.
they compared the measurements to the one that they were doing, even it was like recent, but for the past 2 years it was the same thing. They found out that my tumor started growing. I was pressing on my nerves.
Mhm.
So the doctor's like, well then, so here's the situation. We have to make a choice. You have to make a choice. You have to talk to your family. You have to make a choice. You have to have a surgery done, that you have to have this removed, whatever we can remove, or it's a chance that you go paralyzed on your right side and you're going to be blind on your right eye and deaf on your right ear and everything. And we don't know what else can happen. So here's the surgeon's number and this and that, and you have to schedule this like quick. I'm like, okay. So I went to see the surgeon and I explained and everything else. So they did another MRI.
Welcome back, Scott.
They showed me everything, how it's going to be and where the tumor was and what they're going to do, how they're going to proceed. And then after I seen the surgeon and I was like, okay, preparing myself and everything else, I got blood clots in my lungs.
Oh no.
So I end up in ICU again. Having blood clots, you have to take blood thinners.
Yep.
And I had a surgery scheduled for January, and this is October. You cannot do those things. So it's like it was so much chaos happening at that time that I was really, really stressed. But I am really glad that I'm here, and I am really blessed that everything happened because they were not able to take the whole thing out because wherever it was at, but they did remove to relieve like the pressure and everything else. So I still go to MRIs and I still watch if it's growing or not.
Yeah.
But I do feel a lot better, and I don't have as like I don't get dizzy as the way I used to. I still get the headaches, but my neurologist still monitors that and everything else. So, but everything else, it's knock on the wood. I'm really good. Actually, I do
Good.
feel good right now.
Good.
Right. Well, that's a good thing. But people need to. I mean, it could be something simple like you have a pain in your leg or whatever, like that you don't know, or say there's a spot on your boob that's hurting.
Definitely. Uh huh.
Yeah. That's
And you're trying to figure it out, and you're like, okay, I'm going to the
basically
hospital.
go to the endocrinologist.
Yeah, definitely.
Help
First,
too.
contact your doctor, ask and explain, and hey, refer me to somebody that somebody can tell me something more about
Yeah.
it.
Right. Well,
Because
like with the whole breast cancer thing, like when I went in, they said, now, do you have any certain spots on your breast that hurt? If
right,
you do, point them out, and then they can mark them, and then that spot they will look for in the scan
right,
or in the whatever test it is. I don't know,
yes,
the
yeah.
mammogram.
No,
Yeah.
definitely. They do that because, and sometimes they say that like on the mammogram, then it shows and it's like the fatty tissues, and
Yeah.
it can be mistaken by to comparing that it's a cancer or not, because sometimes it might not be the like a lump or anything, but the cancer is there because it, like they explained to me that it could look like a spider, like all these little veins and everything else.
Yep.
But they have to recognize that which what is it. And if they
Yeah,
have concerns, then they run the blood work and everything else to check all the levels of your blood.
yeah,
And if it comes back that there is something, then they have to take care of it.
exactly.
Which is, you have to be your own advocate. You have to pay attention to yourself, to your life, because nobody will. And
Exactly.
sometimes some of these doctors, they just grab a note and, hey, oh, you have a headache, here's your medicine. You have a pain leg, here's your medicine. I don't need your medicine. I want you to tell me what's going on.
Right. Men also have to worry about breast cancer too.
They do.
You know.
Yeah,
I looked it up last night and it said there the rate of breast cancer is only like 13% in some women,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
but
but
it may be a small number, but people still need to be aware. You know,
yeah,
go every year and have your mammograms, and you know,
Right, especially after a certain age, you are prone to that. It's like
yeah,
everything in your body slows down, like all the blood movement and everything slows down
yeah.
as you get older. Like my sister, she had an ovarian cancer and she didn't even know that she did have it till she collapsed at her job and was bleeding really bad. And they took her to the hospital. Straight from there, they took the thing was like a football. That's how big it was.
Wow.
And she was on the chemo and all the radiations and everything else, and she survived. And then she was good for like 4 years, and then the other side got, so
uh,
now she had both sides taken out, and she's
oh,
doing okay now. She's okay.
oh wow,
But it was really scary. And because, like I said again, in her case, her barrier is that she doesn't speak very well English, and her son has to go with her, translate everything. And sometimes she even pays a translator for her to go with her and everything else. But people are very rude, which is, that's when it comes down to, again, she's legally here. She works for herself. She never asked for anything. She never went on any public help or anything.
right,
But then you would think that this big country would have at the doctor's office all these people hired that would be able to speak, translating to these people.
right, to help them,
But the only thing that they have is always, oh, we hire bilingual Spanish. Okay, so now how are you going to explain to me when I don't speak Spanish, but I speak Polish? And what are you going to tell me?
right,
So it's just one of those things that, they should kind of have a little bit more approachable thing,
Yeah, exactly.
that I'm not telling nobody, hey, you have to change the whole world, whole United States because of a foreigners. No, but unfortunately, how much they would prevent it, because people that they don't speak very well English and they legal here
Yeah,
and they work for their lives here, and they not able to seek help because their language barrier. Oh,
yeah,
they should learn English. Okay, dumbass, why don't you go and learn other language too and be proactive in your life? That's
yep,
what pisses me off automatically about people. Oh, they should learn the language when they live here. Good for you. So it's just one of those things, that all these things that they have available, and I'm sure that they would even be able to hire more people and
yeah,
to be able to have like less money for the health cares and all the stuff that they saying, oh, how much money they losing because of this stuff and everything else. Well, how about you going to use your brain for a minute and organize it a little bit better? Maybe it would prevent it a little bit better.
right,
exactly.
yep,
And
So,
it's like mental health for women. A lot of women
mhm.
go through domestic
Oh
violence
yes, definitely.
and all that kind of stuff. You
And
know,
they seek help, and sometimes they don't even get help because they like, well, you need to work this out with your partner. What is your problem?
there sometimes there's no working anything out when the guy's beating the hell out of you all the time. You know,
exactly. I had to
Which
help.
is,
I had to help my friend. She's a trans woman. Also, she was legally married, post-op, and married to
mhm.
this guy, and he was a narcissistic psycho. He would beat on her, scream, holler at her, help her pack her shit up, help her relocate from 4 states away.
Oh my gosh.
And I had to stay with her for about a year and 6 months, be her bodyguard because he drove truck too.
Oh my God. No, that's sad because I actually like I was already here, but in my own country, my mom's cousin, she got killed right in front of her children by her husband.
Oh my
Oh my
god.
God.
And she was in a very bad abusive situation and everything else, and she did try to reach out like to the family, but in the old country is you married, you stay to the end, you don't leave, you don't do nothing. And then when she would call the police, they would lock him up for the night so he sober up, send him back home. They locked him up for the night, they sent him home, he went home and killed her.
Wow.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's bad.
So
That's
that was really sad. And that's why I'm saying, like, there's sometimes like even for example, like I just seen it on the news a couple of days ago and somewhere around us in the area, that it was a person had a mental breakdown and did have a gun and it was threatening himself that he will kill himself and everything else, and police were called and everything else. And the worst part about it is that I read about is that when the police officers arrived on the scene,
yeah,
the police officer emptied a gun into a subject.
yeah.
What the hell for?
Is
You
somebody
already see that he's having a breakdown. Why can't you approach it in a good manner somehow? Like
yeah,
whatever it is, they need a
and
better training.
it's like me. I understand what you're saying. When I had my mental breakdown, you know what they did? They labeled me like that Tennessee trans person that shot up all them kids. They
Yeah,
asked me, "You got a plan to shoot up everybody?"
right. Which is that's why I said like, and the police should be trained and they should have an
Yeah,
actual specific like squad that they would be able to be called to a mental breakdown, that they would be able
exactly.
to
Instead,
talk instead of just
instead of
sending
having
a
their self
regular one
drawn, instead of having
and
their self
automatic.
drawn on you,
Yes. Uh-huh. And
it's
why don't they shouldn't they use the taser first
exactly.
before they
What
gonna
they
kill the person?
for to subdue the person without using
Right.
a firearm.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is that's so very sad, and I really feel bad because nobody knows what the person was going through, nobody knows what
Exactly.
it got him to that point.
Exactly.
Nobody deserves to die that way,
Exactly. I agree.
even though he was threatening himself that he's going to kill himself and
Yeah.
everything else. But still, because he was yelling, screaming, help, someone help me, but instead now
And
he's dead.
nobody heard his calls,
Yes.
and that's what led him to that
To get
demise at
killed.
that point. And he
Yes.
probably flagged the gun like that.
Yeah.
That would have got him killed by the cops.
Uh-huh. And that's what I'm saying, like, that's so sad.
They could have had a SWAT team member out there to shoot it out of his hand where the weapon would not function.
Right, which is that's what I'm saying. They supposed to be trained like pretty good. So why not to first shoot the gun in the air to scare him, or shoot the gun that it would disable what he's holding the arm. Even if they
Yeah,
shoot him in the arm, fine. You hurt him now. Take him to the
yeah.
hospital, but
Arm,
don't kill him.
forearms, and
Yes,
down below the knee area.
yes. Don't kill
That's the
the
only
person.
places actually you should shoot if somebody's mentally unstable.
Yeah, to
And you
to
don't
try
come up
to
behind somebody's mentally unstable and
no
grab them like that because that's going to
because
set them off more.
more. And then they again, oh, resisting arrest, resisting. Hold on a minute. You don't know how to approach a person when it has a breakdown. Are you trained for that? Were you told how to approach someone? You didn't. You only know how to draw a gun because, oh, it's a threat to me. I understand. Yeah, police officer, they do get killed, but also they need a better training.
Yeah, I agree with you. 100% they need more training, period.
Yes, they do. They do
before
definitely.
before they even raise their right hand to
Uh
take
huh.
that job.
Yep. They should be trained pests on all avenues to at least know a first approach how to handle a situation.
Exactly.
Yeah, so there is a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of topics that we would be able to kind of discuss and everything else.
Exactly.
But like sometimes people, I'm sure that whoever's going to listen to this, they're going to kind of have
Brush
their
off.
opinion about it. And
Yeah.
exactly. But I'm not asking nobody's, oh, you have to agree with me. I'm expressing how it makes me feel.
Let me take mom. I gotta post this right here. Look what your husband said.
Really? Then your ass better sit on that freaking ass toilet. He's something. Instead of watching his football, I don't know where he's at.
He's up to something.
He's also something no good. So, well, that's what it is, and that's why, like we were talking about it yesterday about the individual that it was an issue, and I'm not gonna name it. That was an issue on the
Yeah,
live stream and everything else.
I agree with you.
Then I think that should be a kind of different approach to it and see where it leads,
Yes.
not automatically approaching defensively, like
Yeah,
right there.
I agree with you.
And that's what I just feel, because like I always try to understand people. I try to get to know people by talking to everyone and see what how can I handle a situation if I'm discussing something or I'm talking about
Yeah,
something. And you have to be careful, because some people, they really get attached to others, especially if you
yeah.
show them that you have kind words to them, or you are kind to them, they might take it completely
Raw.
different than yes, and then
Well,
it
trust me,
creates a
I've had that
chaos.
problem. I've had that problem before.
Yeah, and that creates a chaos then, because then you're like, oh, hold on a minute, back it off. But then you have to think about it. What did it lead the person? What did I do? How did I approach it to lead the person to attach to me like that?
Yeah,
So it's just sometimes it is a lot of stuff that sometimes people don't know how to handle, and you
exactly.
know they have a lot of things to
Yeah.
deal with on a regular basis life. Sometimes people have health issues that they don't go and advertise it with the sign, I have this, I have that, and I'm stressed out every day. They don't do that.
Yeah.
But everybody else looking at it and automatically judging, oh, why you acting that way, or why you do this, why that, why. Hold on a minute. Don't judge people.
Exactly.
That should
It's
not
like
be
me.
automatically
It's
judged.
like me. I suffer from PTSD, and that'll
Mm-hmm.
be with me the rest of my life. Missy,
Yeah.
Chris, and the kids, they've seen how I act out in my sleep because I have them flashbacks.
Right, which is that's what I'm saying, and you have to deal with that on a regular basis. So even sometimes when you go outside and something triggers it,
Yeah,
and you might react to certain automatically people judging, what the
yeah,
hell's wrong with this person? Hold on a minute. You don't know what's going on. You don't know their background. So can you approach like with a decent matter? Hey, maybe someone needs
yeah,
help or maybe something.
Right. Now I know, like, I don't know. Last year, I know the NFL did something with the whole breast cancer thing, where they were trying to set people up for appointments and all that, and they would take it back and forth or what. I don't know how it worked, but Dad might know. But they were doing something with the whole breast cancer thing. With,
Yeah, I think that usually they try to advertise it like that, because I think I'm not sure exactly what team, but one of the players, the mom had a cancer, breast cancer,
yeah, yeah,
because he wore actually, I remember he wore like pink shoes on the field,
yep,
that they let him do that because that's to represent awareness.
yep,
But that's something nice, like these big organization that they do try to help out and everything else and point it out. That's really nice about it, that sometimes people might not be able to afford it, but if they would go to a certain organizations, maybe they would get help in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, oh, that's
And
right.
they just need to, like, research it, where do they have this in their area or something.
yeah, exactly.
There's always some stuff that can be helped, or
Yeah,
at least to get some advice and point in the right direction.
exactly.
Yeah.
Seek help. I
That's
didn't.
it.
I didn't seek help in time. I actually melted down literally, and my mom and my therapist forced me to go get help. That's how bad it got with me.
Right, because sometimes you feel like, yeah, I can handle this, I can handle it, but no, not everyone can handle it, and you always need at least a little help, like a little advice, or at least pointing in the right direction, something.
Exactly.
And no,
Everyone needs something.
no one's immune to cancer. You know,
Nope.
Nobody's
no
immune
one's
to it.
immune. I mean, if you don't get breast cancer, you might get brain cancer.
Or
If you don't get
testicle
brain cancer, you
cancer.
might get like, yeah, like
My
just
uncle died of a lung cancer.
right.
And
So,
also, it's like just a heart failure for women.
mm-hmm.
Women
Yeah.
problems, heart problems. That can go
Yes,
along with men too with heart problems.
definitely. The same way I'm kind of trying to tell them, like, because I did have the thyroid cancer, and I said, well, everybody thinks that it only happens to women. No,
It happens to
it
everybody.
happens to people. My niece was 19 years old when she was diagnosed with thyroid cancer, and
Wow.
she had it removed. And I'm like, that has to be, again, you have to be aware of yourself, like your body,
Yep.
what's going on. When the body is telling you something that it's not feeling right, that means you need to seek help to say, hey, I feel like this, like that, what's going on? You know?
Yep.
So then you can prevent certain things to happening.
Exactly.
Definitely. And breast cancer, yes, it is a silent thing because not everyone recognize it, and then when they do, then it's kind of late already.
Yeah.
So
Like
this is
I
really hard.
I've never had anybody in my family that's had breast cancer.
No,
But
I haven't either.
there are a lot of people. I mean, it may not touch your life, but just be aware, pay attention. You know, if you're having like really sensitive breasts or whatever. You know,
Right.
um, lumps, bruising, anything like that. You know,
No, definitely.
or
Like,
the doctor told me like if you have leakage that like because I've had my kids like they're the last month like 19 years old. So
right.
if I have something coming out,
That's not right.
no, it's not good. Why is
Yeah.
it? What is it? You know?
Right. No, definitely. Because it could be certain things, it could be different signs. Like, like I said, sometimes, yes, they usually say that it's obvious that the lump comes up and everything else. But sometimes it might not, because if it is deep inside, then it's not coming to the surface that you feel it.
Right.
Then how you going to know? But if there is other signs, then you have to go and talk to your doctor and say, hey, I noticed this and this and that. What could be? And then they can go in further with it.
And believe me,
Exactly.
I know that it's uncomfortable to go to a doctor, especially with the male doctor. It's like, do I really want him touching me? You know, like that. But
Yes.
what? But you know something? He's doing that to protect you.
Yeah.
It's not like he's
And
controlling
it's
it.
like he has to have a female nurse in there
Right.
with a female patient.
Right. Which
A
is
transsexual female like me seeing an endocrinologist when he has to do the exam
right.
on breast, he has to have a nurse in there
Yes. Which
also.
Right.
is, yeah, definitely, because again, there is things that it happen in doctors' offices that it shouldn't know, because that's the person you're trying to trust to help you with your health. But
Exactly.
Right.
things happen. But that's a good thing that they do have an assistant or nurse or whoever it is to be there. So then you feel a little bit more comfortable to be able to say, hey, this and that, and
Yeah.
let this to be examined properly.
I'll be right
Right.
back. Listen, I gotta go.
That's fine.
I've
So
got back links.
Yeah. I can remember the first time I went into the doctor for my breast exam, and I'm like, uh, they go, okay, you're gonna get to take your top off and all that, shit.
uh,
And the doctor come in and the nurse came in, and I'm like, oh my god, what are we doing here? Yeah,
yeah, because it can freak you out a little bit
because
because
I'm kind of confused. I'm like, oh, I don't know what to expect. What time's gonna happen?
definitely. Why are all of them here?
But don't feel uncomfortable about it because it's only gonna help you in the long run.
Which is that's what. But then, like again, you have to speak for yourself. That if you do feel uncomfortable, especially when you do have a male doctor, and you feel uncomfortable, then you say, I would rather have someone, like a nurse or somebody to be present, because I don't feel comfortable and everything else.
Yeah,
Because you have to speak for yourself. You have to help yourself first before anybody else can help you.
yeah, that's right. That's right.
So it's
But
just one of those things that we have to be alert and aware of everything.
even when they do the pap smears, I've always had a guy nurse. Well, I should say I've always had a guy doing it, but like I was at this one place and this one doctor says to me, he goes, "Now, would you rather have a female do it or a guy?" And I'm like, "Well, to be honest, a woman, but if there's none available, I guess I'll have to, take
Right,
it. I
right.
mean, I don't want a guy sticking his fingers up in me, other than my husband.
Definitely. Like I said, sometimes, and that's a good thing that they do sometimes offer the choice that they ask you, like, hey, would you rather have a female or male doctor? Because sometimes they don't ask you that and then they just push it on, and it's like, hold on a minute, I don't feel comfortable about this. Can I change a doctor? Can someone else be here because I don't feel comfortable? But everything is accordingly, like, yourself. You have to be willing to look out for your own self.
Right. When I was pregnant for Austin, there it was a female doctor, but she had two students with her, and they're like, "Well, is it okay if we watch, to see how
What
to
to do?
perform this procedure and all that?" And
Yeah,
I'm like, you know what? There's no other way that you're going to learn if you don't watch. You have to
right.
watch it in order to learn how to do things.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, definitely. No,
but at least
definitely.
they asked, because it was a male and a female,
Right.
asked, and I'm like, that's the only way you're going to learn is if you see someone do it, first.
Right. And sometimes you just have to, and yeah, you can say, no, I'm not comfortable. So then they would have to go to the next patient. But at least if you feel that, okay, if you're willing to learn and do your job properly, then yes, go ahead, watch whatever needs to be done. That's how I look at it.
Yep, that's what I thought too.
Yeah. Because, I might feel uncomfortable or whatever, but and then when these kids that they're trying to be these doctors and they're not going to get enough practice and they're not going to be able to see the actual physical thing,
Right,
what to do, then how are they going to be prepared to be a good doctors?
right.
You
Well,
cannot open up a book and start reading it when you have to do something.
right. Well, Chris's thing was like when I would go into the doctor and I'd have an exam, he's like, "Well, so how did it feel to get fingered by another guy?" I was like, "Shut the fuck up."
That's the typical man's response. Typical man's response. That's the only thing they think about it, instead of how uncomfortable it is,
Right,
how to a certain point embarrassing it is because you have to agree someone else touching you.
right.
But the only thing they're thinking about, oh, how do you feel by somebody else doing this? Really? That's the only thing that came out of your mouth?
I'm like, bitch, just lay there and let them stick it up you, okay? And Dad said, "Oh hell no." Oh
No,
god.
definitely. It's just one of those things that, sometimes it's hard. Because the same way, like when a man goes to the doctor's office, and let's say the doctor is a female, and
Mhm.
they have to have the prostate check, right?
Right.
So then the lady has to talk about it, but it's okay when they're questioning, oh, how did it go? How did it feel? How did this? Shut your mouth. I'm not bothering your ass asking you questions. How did it feel? So stop bothering me.
Right. I understand that.
Yeah.
See, that's something I gotta work on with Chris because it's like talking to a brick wall about him going to the doctor. He will not go. You know, he went one time, well, a couple times, but only for his blood sugar.
No, no,
If he's feeling okay, he won't go.
no.
No,
But that doesn't mean that something else might not be happening.
exactly.
So
Get
that should be.
it.
No,
Get
it should be checked
it.
because,
That.
like they say, the wellness checkup, and a regular thing. They said that you should see your doctor at least 3 times in a year, which is just a regular general seeing. But
Right.
if you know that you are sick, then yeah, you go. But at least once a year, wellness checkup, that all the blood work, everything, all the tests to be run, if everything is okay, to be done at least once a year.
Yep, that's right. But he's, like I say, it's talking to a brick wall with him.
Yeah, you gotta tell him, I'm gonna blindfold your ass and I'm gonna drag you in there myself.
That's okay. Guess what? When we come there, you can drag him.
Oh, sure.
We're gone, Bucko. He won't
Oh
argue
my
with you,
God.
Mom. He likes you too much.
Well, even if he would start arguing, not many people win the argument with me.
Yeah, Chris. I know he's in the chat. I know he's listening.
I'm sure probably it is. Let him figure out by the time that they guys come here. Then let him be prepared for it.
They're gonna sneak some up your pee pee, Chris.
Then we're gonna make a doctor's appointment. We're gonna tell him, hey, now they're gonna shove the catheter in your
Can we do the
ding dong.
treatment at the same time? Then they have something to talk about.
Exactly. That would be crazy.
Like, fuck you, Missy. You're not gonna do shit.
This is crazy. Like, no, but sometimes I have to, because my husband too. When I try to make an appointment, I'm like, "Did you make an appointment? Did you make an appointment? Did you make an appointment?" No, you got to do it. I'm like, why do I have to do it? That's not for me. That's for your ass. Oh, no, yeah, you do it because if you do it, I'll go.
Okay, I'm
So
back now.
I'm like, okay, well then the appointment is made. Then you don't have a choice, but you have to go.
Now, when he will go to the eye doctor, he has no problem with that. But
Right.
like diabetes, that's the only time he's ever gone. And I'm like, Chris, he's got like a skin tag on the back of his body, right? And
Mhm.
I was listening to the thing on my phone. It's the doctor, and he says skin tags are normally from a bad liver. And I'm like, Chris, you need to go to, but it's like talking to a wall, you know?
Right. Sometimes when you go to the doctor, like I said, once a year, and you ask, hey, can you run my liver levels and kidney levels and all that stuff, to check everything.
Yeah,
And then they can take it from there, because if they do notice, then they're going to say, okay, well, it's not so bad, the levels are not so bad, but we can see you in 6 months, so we can repeat those tests if anything changed for better or worse.
Right.
And that's what happening, because like recently we went to the doctor, and the nurse called me with my results, and she's like, well, the doctor said that he noticed that your kidney levels are like a little bit elevated.
Mhm.
So are you okay with it and everything? I'm like, no, I'm fine. Nothing's happening. I don't feel anything. Like, so they like, oh, okay, well, we would like to run the test again in 6 months. I'm like, okay, well, I'll do that.
But don't get me wrong, like the blood work is not going to show up something wrong all the time.
No, not every time, but believe me, I actually had it done one blood work, but sometimes not all the insurances actually cover that kind of blood work.
exactly.
They can detect if you have any other cancers, like they can detect certain cancers in your body through your blood work.
Yeah, exactly.
But they said that you have to pay out of pocket for those, because they are very expensive, because they have to separate your blood and they have to test it against all of that to detect if there is anything else happening.
Oh
Yeah,
wow,
Yeah, so I had that done after I had my the when I had my the brain tumor taken out and my thyroid taken out. So I was like, I think 5 years after that, they just wanted to make sure if there is anything else because they said that even though they did take my thyroid out and everything out, but they said that can be that they can attach itself to anywhere else and to
Yeah.
anything else.
Right.
So they did run the test like that. And they said, "Oh, okay, well, it didn't show nothing that, my blood levels, like, the hormone levels and everything else, because they do check the blood work for me anyway." So they were like asking, like, what's going on? Because for that time, for some reason, my blood levels were higher than when I did have my thyroid cancer, when I still had, thyroid in my body. And they're
Yeah.
like, what's going on? I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't feel any different. So they had to run it a couple of times to see what's going on, and they had to adjust my medicine to it so I can
Yeah.
have it leveled up.
It's like they had to adjust my PTSD meds.
Yeah, because that shows in your blood,
Yeah.
whatever levels they checking and everything out, then it shows. So then they try to work it out with your medicine how to level up for how those big the dosage is. So
Right.
Exactly.
Like when we were living up in Michigan, Austin was having headaches all the time, and I started freaking out. So I made the appointment, and when we went in, the doctor asked me what's going on with him, and I'm like, I told him, I said, I had a brain tumor when I was 14. I want him checked for a tumor because I'm afraid that my genetics passed on to him. And they go, okay, no problem. So they test him and everything, and they give him the scan, and it came back okay. There was nothing wrong, and I'm like, well, that gives me peace of mind.
right. No, that's good. That's why I try to tell the kids too. I said, you guys have to pay attention because
Yeah.
like it runs in a family, and it's really, I don't even know where did I get the blood clots from, but apparently they also can test your blood. Certain bloods are more tend to clotting than the
Yeah.
other.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you have to know what blood type you are and to be able to check, and
Yeah.
then you can kind of control it what you eat to be able to eat certain foods and like stuff, so then your blood don't clot that much.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because like for example, like I didn't know, like in my family apparently, like from my mom, she had a stroke and we didn't know, and then all of a sudden she had stroke, then she had blood clots too, so she was on the blood thinners all the time. And when she went to back to Poland, because she would go always like at least 2 times a year back home and then come back, when she came back, then she had internal bleeding and she died. And the doctor should have told her that if she travels, that she was supposed to like at least walk every hour, like through the aisles, like on a plane, whatever, to move the blood.
Oh,
But the doctors didn't tell her that because the plane, right, it's 14 hours. So she was just sitting. And
Yeah.
when she got off the plane, and 2 days later, she died.
Oh my,
oh
I'm
my God.
sorry.
Yeah, so that's why. And then my daughter, she had two miscarriages and she didn't know what's wrong. And she was really depressed and everything else. So she went again to a doctor after she lost the second baby. And she was like, what's going on? Why am I bed? Why can I carry a child? Like, and then they find out that she actually has that type of blood, that blood clot forms, and
Oh,
it form into baby's umbilical cord. It wouldn't go to the baby. The blood wouldn't travel to the baby.
oh no.
Yeah.
Oh,
So but then also you can go and find all that out, and they can give you medicine for to
Yeah.
help you with that and everything else, because they even have like you can go either once a month or times a month to get a shot for to help your blood
Yeah.
flow and everything else, or you can take your medicine every day for the blood.
Yeah.
So there is all kind of stuff that it happens, that you have to be your own advocate for your own self, for your own
Exactly.
all well-being, because
Exactly.
nobody's going to tell you nothing till you pay attention to yourself.
right.
Exactly.
Like when oh shit, never mind. I forgot what I was gonna say. See, when you get old, you kind of. Oh, okay,
That
I know
that
what I'm saying, but
that's right there the classical CRS disease. Can't remember
No, I
shit.
remember now. She
That's one of
said
mine.
there's foods and stuff that can help you. Okay,
Yes.
I ended up losing my insurance, right? So I haven't had it back for a while, and I needed to figure out a way to like lower my blood sugar,
Right.
lower my blood pressure, and all that other shit, right?
Uh-huh.
I looked into chia seeds, mom. I told dad about them, but I looked into chia seeds. I looked into all kinds of different. There's like different spices and stuff out there. Like
They do.
I do my chia seeds in the morning, and then I eat like I watch what I eat during the day. But then, like at night, I have it's kind of disgusting because those spices are kind of gross, but
Yeah, but if you kind of spread it in a, like, let's say, like if you like certain food and then just sprinkle a little bit on or mix it with
Yeah,
something, you know,
it's like,
and then
hey,
just,
sorry for interrupting. Go ahead.
right.
Go ahead.
So it's like, because when I do cook, I do put like, all this stuff, like the spices and everything else, especially in the crock pot. So I do mix it like not necessarily like, to put too much water or anything. It's just to dilute it a little bit, and I put all these spices and I pour it on the food and I put it in a crock pot, and then flip them around and everything else. So then my family eats the whole thing. They don't even know what they're eating.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like
Well,
me, I've been doing keto diets for about a year and 9 months to drop the weight. I have
Okay.
seen some big drops in the weight.
Oh, that's good.
well, the spices that I take are like the ground spices, but I put it in water. Like I'll
Uh-huh.
have my turmeric, my cumin, my ginger, my cinnamon, and my rosemary all in a glass. And I'm telling you, it tastes nasty, but the whole outcome is awesome. It works.
Bless you.
Thank you.
But like the ginger, then they say that, or the turmeric, if you, I don't know if you drink tea or coffee, but they said even to put a little bit in it to mix it and then
Yeah.
drink it like that, then it's good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
So
like over in India, the doctor told me, he goes, well, if you're using turmeric and cumin and all that, he goes, try a little bit of milk. That's how they make their lattes, like over in India. And I'm like, really? And I've never tried it, but that's like,
yeah, no,
okay.
but that's why, like, even sometimes the cinnamon, like, they said that just to put a little bit in a coffee or tea, like, if you
Yeah.
drink it, so
And
to
that
just do
help
that.
hot flashes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then, or even to sprinkle it a little bit on the food, like whatever you eat, like cooking or something. So just sprinkle it on it and then just eat like that.
Cody made some macaroni and cheese the other day. And he grabbed the turmeric out of the cupboard. He's like, I wonder what this will taste like. And he goes, "Oh my God! It brought out the macaroni and cheese, or the cheese and the macaroni and cheese even more." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. That's how he's been making it now." So
Well, Kyle, I guess he had a class in high school that, like, food, that they were teaching them how to cook basic food, whatever.
yeah,
So he always, none of these kids in here, they want to eat his macaroni and cheese because he puts all kind of spices in it.
Uh,
He's like, my teacher told me that it's good for you, and if you like macaroni and cheese, that's the best way to add on, to food that you like. So
right.
to add on those kind of stuff. So
yeah.
he only is making it self for himself.
I could not believe the health benefits for all of it. I mean, it helps with your heart. It helps with your intestines, your liver. It helps with anxiety. There's one of them that helps with PTSD, but it will not help her because
Right.
a stronger kind of thing going on.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I learned that much, that yes, they said that if you can, and these days everything is online. Like, you can look it up, you can,
Yeah.
ask questions and everything else, and then they tell you and explain to you. So if you really truthfully wanted to do something for yourself and work on it and everything else, they said that a lot of it is to learn what vegetables or fruits help with what, and
Yeah.
to add that to your diet.
Exactly.
Lemons
E-
are awesome. Avocados are awesome. Broccoli.
Even my endo doctor told me the same thing. My endocrinologist said the same thing. Like she's speaking, like
Yeah.
healthy foods, like
Yes.
keto diets.
Mm-hmm.
and I've been on this keto diet where I'm eating more vegetables,
Yes,
white
because that
meat, more
helps.
salmon, and stuff
Right.
like that.
Right.
Yams.
Because they said that even if you like, like drinking water, they said to drink water, not to drink
Yeah,
any sodas, anything, stuff, whatever. I do like my coffee at least once a week, even though I don't taste it, but I know how it's supposed to taste, so I drink
yeah.
it.
But this is my
You
headaches.
gotta have coffee. You gotta
Yeah.
have coffee.
Right. No, at least just one a day because it helps me with my headaches. I guess it balances whatever because I
Yeah.
really have bad headaches sometimes and I hate to take medicine.
And see, I put a little bit of cinnamon in my coffee, like you were saying earlier.
Right.
It's not too bad, you know.
No, because you don't put overly too much. You just
No.
sprinkle a little bit till,
Yeah.
because it's enough for a cup, so then it's good.
Yep.
Yeah. And then they said to make a water, cucumber and lemon and mint. Like,
Hmm.
put in the fridge, cut up fresh cucumber and fresh lemon and mint leaves and put it in the fridge and to have it to drink it like that. That is really
Yeah.
helpful for digestive system.
Yeah. So I mean,
So,
I researched all this shit, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe this.
Okay, Lady Outlaws, we're at 56.11 minutes. So
oh,
keep
so it's
going.
already past that
That,
quick.
that was fast.
You want to keep
Uh-huh.
going or do we want to stop?
No, you guys, if you wanted to stop because we are gonna go. So we were invited for a football, so my husband's gonna
Okay.
wanna go. So,
All right. All
so
right.
yeah,
We'll take
and like
on.
I said, if you guys wanted to talk about anything else or whatever, just let my husband know so we can
All right.
kind of prepare it for the week.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you have the
Okay.
last words to say, Lunatic Mom?
Well, I really thank you, ladies, and to having me in here all the time. And I really would, if whoever is watching, be your own advocate and pay attention to your body because your body will tell you what's going on.
Right.
All right, Missy.
Thank you guys for coming in. I like Mom said, be your own advocate. You know, pay attention to what's going on with your body because you're the best. You're the best. How would you say that? You're the best.
Of yourself. You got to be your best of yourself. Plus, to take care of yourself.
Yeah,
Health.
you're the best one to realize when there's something not right. You know.
Right. Like you're the one who's going to stand up for your own self.
Thank you guys for coming in. Love and light.
Bye,
Yeah.
y'all. Thank you for showing
Thank you.
up.
Thank you for watching
You
and
again.
have a wonderful Sunday.
You too,
Let's
Lunatic
go
Mom.
Bears.
Woo!
And flag
Bye.
for Dan. Bye.